One of the driving principles behind the mystery of creativity is the idea that we as human beings are capable of so much more than even we are aware of. After working on this series for over 10 years, of course I've had to ask the question, how did it all happen to me? Why did I get chosen to deliver this particular message? When I was a boy, I was extremely normal. I was like a boy's life boy. My life revolved around school, sports, and television. When I got home from school in the afternoon, I would stay glued in front of the television from 4 o'clock to the time I went to bed. I knew the TV Guide grid every day of the week by heart. I was a particular fan of the New York Mets, and that was the year that they went on to win the World Series. Players like Tommy Agee, Don Clendenin. Was I aware of social events of that year, Woodstock and the Vietnam War? Not at all. I was a veritable recluse. Very little could budge me from my room. So what happened exactly? What changed me? How did that light bulb turn on in my head? Looking back on it, there was a very specific time where my life changed. The year was 1969. I was 8 years old. My cousin Tommy was serving as a medic in the U.S. Navy off the coast of Vietnam. He would have 3 or 4 day furloughs where he would come to New York City, and all he wanted to do was take long, long walks and go to museums. Tommy was the most intellectually curious human being I have ever known. I worshiped the ground that he walked on. I wanted to be with him 24/7. So when Tommy would come to New York, he would say to us, well, I'm going to the Museum of Modern Art for the afternoon, or I'm going to the Natural History Museum or the Metropolitan Museum, and I just wanted to be with him. And I didn't care if I was bored because Tommy was the bee's knees to me. That's why Tommy's visits were so extraordinary. Tommy got me out of the house. No one else could do that. So Tommy and I would get on the subway from Brooklyn and we'd arrive at our destination, and the first thing Tommy would do would be to stop at a painting for 15 minutes. Tommy was one of these people who could look at a single painting for 15 minutes. Not only would he look at one painting that way, but he could look at 4 paintings over the course of an hour. I would be standing in the museum, bored out of my mind, crossing my fingers, tapping my toes, looking up at the ceiling. I would ask myself, what is he possibly looking at in there? Of course, I wasn't going to let Tommy know that I was bored. Over the course of these visits, I did sort of notice what was on the walls. I remember thinking to myself, wow, Paul Klee, he's pretty cool. Or, wow, Picasso paints sort of like a kid. I liked it. Of course, on the subway home, naturally, I wanted to appear to Tommy like I was very into what he had just shown me. Even though I didn't know what the heck I was talking about, I would say to him, tell me about Paul Klee. What's up with Paul Klee? Or what's up with Miro? What are they about? And Tommy would delight in answering me. I had no idea what he was talking about, literally. Those things were just sort of blips in my mind. But I guess what happened was, over the course of time, the Paul Klee blip got bigger than the Don Clendenin blip. The Juan Miro blip got bigger than the Tommy Agee blip. Those trips to the museum had little effect at first, but they exposed me to things that I did not understand. And that opened this closed mind up, thus planting the permanent seed of curiosity. And curiosity is what fuels the fire of the imagination.